Good morning. President Park Geun-hye offers full support of China's roadmap for a regional trade pact, the Asia-Pacific Free Trade Area. Next stop, the ASEAN and East Asia summits. Officials announced the end of search efforts for the remaining Sewol ferry victims. Meanwhile, the court hands down its sentence for the captain and the crew. And we drop by another location on the citta slow list, the slow lifestyle to give you a break from the ever so complicated city life. And if you can't slow down and find some time for a decent meal, then you have to go the instant route. Now we'll show you some ways to do it right on Hot Items coming on Korea Today, Wednesday, November 12th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And a cold and slightly wet Wednesday morning. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung and Jin-ju.
Good morning. Yesterday, November 11th, was Farmers' Day here in Korea, a day designated to celebrate the year's harvest and remember the hard worker farmers. And it's also called Garetdeok Day. And Garetdeok is that stick-shaped white rice cake.
Right. I think Kim Young put it best yesterday by doing this. So that looks like Garetdeok, right?
We didn't have time to get it ready.
Well, here's a look at the real thing. Take a look. Well, an event was held yesterday in Danyang County in Chungcheongbuk-do Province. It was a Garetdeok making event, and participants managed to make Garetdeok 111 meters long, and 160 kilograms of rice was used. And get this, it took the participants merely 2 minutes to make this Garetdeok 111 meters long.
That's amazing.
Now that is some speedy Garetdeok there. I think it'll take me more than 2 minutes to run 111 meters.
A bit of exaggeration there.
All right, well, the Garetdeok was cut to pieces and also handed out to the people that were there in the area. So it all went to a good cause and a lot of fun. And also to pay homage to the farmers who work hard all year round to yield that harvest, right? All right, now we're going to put that aside for now, and we'll turn our focus to the APEC summit in Beijing, where one of the main points of conversation had been China's vision for a regional trade bloc called the Free Trade Area of the Asia-Pacific. On Tuesday, President Park Geun-hye pledged Korea's full support for the FTAAP roadmap, after which a study into the system was adopted by the APEC member nations. And also on the same day, President Park carried out on her bilateral diplomacy with U.S. President Barack Obama. And for more details on that and more, let's now connect to our presidential office correspondent, Choi Yusun in Beijing. Yusun, good morning. Now, this FTAAP, if and when it does go into effect, it would essentially be one of the world's largest joint FTAs.
You're right, Young. The pact, which was first proposed back in 2004, would cover more than half of the global economy and trade, and it is the 21-member APEC's ultimate goal. Urging APEC support, Chinese President Xi Jinping said establishing the trade bloc would help the Asia-Pacific region get on a path towards a long-term development. Now, what's interesting to note is that the FTAAP is often compared to the U.S.-led multilateral free trade network named the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which China and Russia are not part of. Korea, for its part, has so far expressed an interest in joining the TPP. In response to some media speculation that President Park's FTAAP endorsement Tuesday may upset Washington, Seoul's foreign ministry official clarified that all 21 APEC members, including the U.S., supported it. In fact, President Obama recently turned down suggestions that Washington was trying to counter Chinese influence in the region with the TPP.
Now, there has been some noise in the media about the TPP and also the FTAAP. Now, let's switch our focus to President Park's summit talks with President Obama on Tuesday. Now, I understand the security situation on the Korean Peninsula topped their agenda. Now, what more can you tell us about that?
President Park and Obama highlighted the need for the international community's concerted effort in addressing the North Korean nuclear issue. The South Korean president, who met the Chinese president a day before, said that Beijing is more determined than ever before to not accept Pyongyang's nuclear development. Seoul and Washington also recognized Tokyo as a vital partner in bringing Pyongyang back to denuclearization talks. President Obama then explained the circumstances that led to Pyongyang's recent release of 3 Americans, including Kenneth Bae, who has been detained by the communist regime for 2 years.
And so President Park at the APEC this week seems to have managed to brush off some criticisms about her diplomatic isolation in Northeast Asia.
Well, she certainly wasted no time with her bilateral diplomacy, meeting both of the G2 leaders. But her brief encounter with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Monday garnered much media attention, although time will only tell how that engagement will work to improve Seoul-Tokyo relations. In the meantime, President Park departs this morning for Myanmar to attend the ASEAN +3 and East Asia Summit, where there will be discussions on regional security and global issues. This was Cheongsan reporting on President Park's second day at the 2014 APEC China Summit.
Thank you, Yusun. Now, nearly 7 months after the passenger ferry Seolho sank off the southwestern coast of Korea, the government and the families of the victims have agreed to end the search operations on Tuesday for the remaining 9 people who are still unaccounted for. The Oceans and Fisheries Minister said the search mission has come to an end due to the collapsing interior of the sunken ship and worsening sea conditions for the divers. Later on Tuesday, a district court delivered the verdict for the 15 crew members and sentenced the captain of the ship, Lee Jun-seok, to 36 years in prison for abandoning the passengers and fleeing the sinking ship that killed some 300 people on board. He was clear, though, of charges of homicide with willful negligence. The court convicted the ferry's chief engineer of murder for leaving injured colleagues on board. Prosecutors who had earlier sought the death penalty for the captain said they would appeal the verdict.
China is Korea's largest trading country, with 1/4 of Korea's total exports flowing into China. Looking at last year's figures, Korean exports to China amounted to 160 trillion won, that is roughly $146 billion US. Now, with the 2 countries agreeing on a comprehensive free trade agreement Monday, there will certainly be industries that benefit from the trade pact, while some other sectors will face some serious challenges with the influx of low-cost Chinese goods. Today, we have an industrial analysis on the impact of Korea-China FTA may have once it goes into effect. Take a look.
Korea signed a free trade agreement with China 30 months after negotiations began in May 2012. Both sides came to an agreement on 22 chapters, including sectors ranging from services, investment and finance, to telecommunications and more.
Korea has established an FTA network with 3 economic powers, the U.S., EU, and China, by finalizing the deal in Beijing. Korea is the first country to sign a free trade deal with all 3 economic powers among the world's top 10 traders. The Korea-China FTA means that Korea's economic territory will leap to 73.2%, the 3rd highest in the world.
Korea's free trade deal with China is highly anticipated by domestic businesses. What kind of effect is the pact expected to have on the Korean economy?
Data from the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy shows that the free trade deal could bring a 0.5 to 1 percentage point increase in GDP over the course of 5 years. Although the pact is quite narrow, it will have a great effect on the manufacturing and service sectors, and considering the Chinese population plus the increase in bilateral trade, GDP is likely to grow.
China promised to eliminate tariffs on 91% of trade items and 85% of imports, $137.1 billion, while Korea agreed to eliminate tariffs on 92% of items and 91% of imports, $73.6 billion, within the next 20 years. Then what are the domestic sectors which would benefit from the free trade deal? The petrochemical and refining industry already occupies a large portion of exports to China. 18% of petroleum products and 45% of petrochemicals are currently exported to China. Once the FTA takes effect and tariffs are waived, greater price competitiveness will result in greater profit. China imposes high tax rates from 6.6% to 10% on Korean cosmetics, which are popular among Chinese consumers. Now, with the free trade deal in place, Korean cosmetics are also likely to strengthen its competitiveness in the market.
Demand for Korean cosmetics is high due to its quality and image among Chinese consumers. 25% of Korean cosmetic products are exported to China. Once tariffs are eliminated, sales are expected to triple at the very least. In order to help domestic businesses expand into China, our association will be providing legal advice.
A survey to examine the effects of the FTA in the trade industry showed that 70% of the respondents answer that the deal will benefit Korea when doing business with China. A majority of Korean exporters anticipate a roughly 22% increase in exports to China and therefore have high hopes towards the FTA.
More trade between the two countries will bring a greater demand in passenger and freight transportation services, resulting in brighter prospects for aviation and transportation industries. On the other hand, domestic electronics manufacturers and the fashion industry should be on alert. Although the free trade deal with China may not cause much damage to domestic computer and semiconductor manufacturers, a bulk of low-cost small appliances produced in China could sweep the Korean market. Domestic fashion and apparel businesses will earn the chance to expand into a larger market, but if there is an influx of low-cost Chinese materials, a fierce competition in the Korean market seems unavoidable. Meanwhile, the prospects for the agricultural and livestock sector, which was discussed until the last minute due to Korea and China's similar diets, remains dim. Tariffs on 610 items, including rice, beef, chili pepper, and garlic, will be maintained for a period of time, and this is reported to be the smallest opening of the agro-livestock market among the FTAs signed in Korea. Both Korea and China seem to have chosen not to take risks with their respective agro-livestock industries. The South Korea-China FTA will go into effect after its written agreement is completed in English and ratified by the National Assembly.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers now. The main story in all the papers this morning is the government's announcement made yesterday on officially terminating the search for those still missing from the sunken Seoul ferry. Let's take a look at how Joseon-ilbo is featuring this story. And the headline says, I apologize for being unable to find every last person. Now, these are words coming from Minister of Oceans and Fisheries, Lee Ju-young. And looking at the sub-headline here, it says that 209 days has passed since the disaster. Now, the government has decided that the underwater search has reached its limit. The relatives of the 9 missing victims had also requested the government to stop the search for the safety of the divers. The families accepted the directive at a teary press conference, expressing thanks to the divers and also Minister Lee for their efforts. And this is Minister Lee here back on Cheongsan-do Island following his announcement made in Seoul, comforting and apologizing to the families of the 9 still missing. And switching gears now to another headline here on the side of 중앙일보. And this one is regarding the household's investment techniques. It's titled Savings 전세 to Homeowner Equation Breaks Down. Now, the paper says this equation of households' investment techniques, which have been the traditional norm for a long time, has been broken due to the low interest rates of fixed deposits. Looking at these subheadlines, with the interest rate being in the 1% range at banks for such deposits, it has become ever more difficult for families to prepare seed money to buy a house even after retirement. Experts say a reform of the financial market to match the low interest rates is therefore necessary. And we'll go to our Korea Economic Daily for a quick look at this side story on the Korea-China FTA. And this is titled
Korea-China FTA creates tariff confusion, 5,000 auto parts firms fret. Now, since the two countries have hammered out this monumental trade deal in Beijing on Monday, thousands of local auto parts firms have been calling the FTA promotion planners for details on the tariff rates regarding some 10,000 industrial products. However, they haven't been able to get clear-cut answers on how the import and export tariff rates are being adjusted in the FTA agreement, causing a chaotic scene and state of emergency in the auto parts industry. And that was a look at our local headlines for this Wednesday. Now following are the stock numbers from Tuesday.
It's not raining here in Seoul, but the roads are still very slippery.
That's right, and the cold isn't really helping people, morning commuters, get out there to their work safely, so be careful out there. Let's get a check on today's weather with Chun Sung-cho. Now, she joins us from Yongsan Family Park.
Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning, guys. I'm reporting live from Yongsan Family Park. Yes, the roads are still wet from the rain earlier on today, and there's a chance of some more to fall this morning all across the nation. And not only are the conditions wet, but very windy as well. If you look behind me, there's so much leaves that fell from the trees on the ground everywhere because of the strong winds. Now, the current temperatures in the capital are 10 degrees Celsius, so you may think that it's not as cold as yesterday, but the wind chill will make it feel colder, so you should still dress warmly on your way out this morning. Plus, once the rain is gone in the afternoon, a cold air mass from the northwest is going to come into the system with unseasonably frigid conditions. By tomorrow morning, when all the seniors in Korean high school are set to take their college entrance exams, temperatures will dip to negative numbers. It's bad enough with the exam alone, but the test takers should really get ready for the cold spell ahead by taking extra care of their health. Remember to always stay warm, consume foods that contain a lot of vitamins, and drink plenty of water. With that, let's take a closer look at today's temperature readings. Midday highs won't rise too much today, hovering around the lower teens mostly. While Busan will be still relatively warm at 17, Seoul looks to be much cooler, only staying at 10 degrees Celsius. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to Minjung.
Let's now get you caught up on some of the global headlines we're following at this hour. Our Eunice Kim is standing by at the News Center for that. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Minjung.
The leaders of the United States and China, two of the global powerhouses and rivals, of course, met for a summit on the last day of the APEC summit yesterday. What did they discuss?
Right. Well, they kicked off their 2 days of face-to-face talks, even as the ink was drying on that FTAAP, the Beijing-led free trade zone. And with China's win of support from the 21 APEC nations to study it, eyes are now on Washington on how it will balance itself against the emerging global leader. But for now, it was a stroll through a garden near the Forbidden City. Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Barack Obama took off their ties and shared a casual chat Tuesday evening on issues of mutual concern prior to a dinner at the presidential residence. President Xi told President Obama that he hoped their countries would lay a foundation for a fruitful relationship, adding that it's important to learn China's modern history to understand its people's aspirations and future. President Obama, for his part, said he wanted to take their relationship, quote, to a new level saying the whole world would benefit when their governments work together effectively. During the course of the APEC summit, the rival nations had announced that each would extend their visa validity to the other's country and also to cut taxes for technology products.
Looking very chummy there. Moving on to some exciting news. A European spacecraft's probe will attempt to land on a comet on this Wednesday. And if this turns out to be successful, the mission will mark a milestone in human history.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on this as well. The spacecraft is called Rosetta, and it was sent into space 10 years ago, traveling 4 billion miles. And, there was a little bit of nervousness earlier in the mission control when the lander, dubbed Philae, apparently fell asleep, resorting to a backup computer over the main. But the robotic lander is said to be on track now for its risky comet landing after operators on Earth power cycled the lander, or in colloquial speak, turned it off and on. So the mission leader at the European Space Operations Center said in the case of success, this spacecraft will revolutionize the science of comets. So we'll be keeping our eyes on
Exciting
this as well.
Stuff.
Absolutely.
Right. Good luck, Rosetta.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Eunice.
You bet.
Stay with us on Korea Today. We'll make another stop on the citta slow map in Korea that provides visitors with the opportunity to take a break from the hustle and bustle of life in Cheongsan-do Island. Our Keith Kim will take us there to unwind and chillax.
A movie festival or a film festival dedicated to just Korean movies, but on foreign soil. We'll be talking about that with Im Uni, today. Good morning.
Good morning, Young. So I'm sure you can recall a couple of pretty big Korean movies that were released this year, right? Some pretty memorable ones.
There's been 2 real big ones.
Yes.
One was kind of covered up by the other, Myeongyang. Now that was one that was huge, and everyone was talking about that. It was a total blockbuster, setting records here in Korea.
Right, so there is the London Korean Film Festival that has been steadily growing over the past almost decade now. And as a result of some of these huge blockbusters this year, the festival is bigger than ever, so take a look.
The annual London Korean Film Festival has finally gotten started, with quite the lineup set for this year. Over 50 screenings of contemporary Korean films are set to show at one of the largest Korean movie film festivals outside the peninsula, attracting quite the global audience.
I think the characters and the plot are really interesting, and it's really different to English movies.
I really like the storyline and the characters, and I like how it's made as well.
This is the 9th edition of the festival, and the biggest one yet. The London Korean Film Festival includes everything from action movies and thrillers to romance, also boasting some of this year's biggest Korean films as part of the program as well. Most notably, the festival opened with the hit film Gundo, Age of the Rampant, starring actor Kang Dong-won, who made an appearance for the screening.
I think it's great that there is an opportunity for the fans to meet the actors and the actors to meet the fans on the front lines.
The festival is based in the Odeon West End, a landmark in the London cinema community, but will make its round throughout the country, continuing screenings of a diverse range of Korean films.
Already several films have been quite successful. I would guess that In Context's new film, which closes this festival, is a film like that.
Award-winning director Im Kwon-taek's drama Revive is set to round out this year's edition of the London Korean Film Festival.
10, 15 years ago, never would I have ever imagined that there would be so much fanfare and interest in Korean films overseas, right? But not just Asian nations, but this is in London, which makes it even more significant. Now, you were saying earlier that before the program that they do have some major plans for this festival.
Right, so next year marks the 10th year anniversary for this particular festival, and they said that the Korean movie industry has shown significant growth over the past past 10 years. And so next year they want to grow as well. And so they really have been making a push. So this year was the biggest ever. And next year they have plans to make an even bigger festival to establish it for the future of this Korean films abroad.
Okay, so this is something that's growing every year. Now, we have seen many Korean actors also attend other film festivals overseas, but this is a Korean film festival dedicated to Korean films now. Are there any other in other parts of the world?
So there actually are quite a few others. There's one particular fun one that's been garnering attention that takes place in Brussels. And this one is only in its second year. However, it's festivals like the London Korean Film Festival that has allowed this particular festival to grow. The London Korean Film Festival has paved the ways for other festivals around the world. So be sure to keep an eye out for those.
Well, Korean films, they've been making waves and they're a lot of fun to watch.
Right, and a lot more growth potential.
All right, thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Now, we were talking about citta slow. That's coming up later on the program. But what if you can't sit slow, right? Sometimes you have to go the instant route now. We're going to be showing you some of that coming up on our hot items segment coming up. Sometimes you just don't have enough time for a proper meal. So it's no wonder why instant foods have become so popular these days. But these instant foods that we're going to show you aren't just convenient, they're nutritious and tasteful as well. Find out more on Hot Items.
You know, there's something my mother always used to complain about, and it's house cleaning. There really seems to be no end to it.
Well, there's a perfect Christmas gift for her, maybe. There's a smart mop developed by students at KAIST that could make cleaning a lot easier and more effective, so maybe consider that.
I will.
So Sorang joins us to tell us more. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. I agree with you, Mom. I hate cleaning and anything to make it fun. So let's have a look at what the star product is. Looks like this. It's a typical mop, but on its head there's a display screen. Now the mop recognizes where in the room you're cleaning and will display the parts that you have missed so you can get a thorough clean. It also turns cleaning into a game where you have to mop around to find hidden coins and bugs for points.
Wow.
So it won the Student Innovation Contest Award at this year's UIST conference, or the User Interface Software and Technology Conference, which is a mouthful, but basically it's the top conference in the field of human-computer interactions.
With a game, you can involve your kids to
exactly,
do the
you can
cleaning
suck them
together.
into.
This actually, I want this for my Christmas gift.
Okay, I'll consider it.
It's a prototype, so it's not out on the market yet, unfortunately, but you'll be the first to know if it does come out, and we'll feature it on our hot items.
Oh, great.
Now, speaking of great ideas, here's another one. So right now, when you go and aboard subways, the maps are located here above the doors, which is great because everyone can still see the map when it's crowded. But the problem is for little children, elderly, and those in wheelchairs, it's simply too high. So by the end of the year, they're also going to put another map like this, much larger, next to the courtesy seats.
Great idea.
And next up, Dongbangsingi set a new record recently. They've become the highest-selling foreign artist in Japan. So let's have a look. So far, as of yesterday, the group sold 4.08 million copies of its singles in Japan, breaking the existing 4.01 million record held by a Hong Kong singer. The feat's on the back of their latest single, titled Time Works Wonders, which was released last Wednesday and ranked second in the Oricon Weekly chart. Now, to this news, Dongbangsingi said in a statement, "We're very happy and grateful. We owe this to our fans. We'll continue to give our best in our songs."
Still going strong.
Still going very strong. Now, wrapping up, we just have one day left till Suneung, or the college entrance exam. So I'm going to show you some foods that can help give your brain an extra boost.
We're nervous for the test takers.
The first one is DHA. It's an essential structural component of our brain, and it can help with mental acuity and cognitive functioning. Now, foods rich in DHA include fish, so tuna, mackerel, or salmon, but there's a lot of people that don't like fish in the morning, so for those, you can go for nuts such as walnuts or cashew nuts. Next up is choline. Now, choline is an important precursor to a neurotransmitter and can help with memory recollection. Now, one of the easiest and richest sources of choline is egg yolks. So Whether it's hard-boiled, scrambled, or fried, you can't go wrong with eggs. And lastly, proteins. Now, proteins will help you keep satiated and also keep your blood sugar level steady so that you can concentrate better. Now, meat's, of course, always an excellent source of protein, but sometimes when you're nervous, it's a bit too heavy on a nervous stomach. So in that case, tubu or beans are an excellent alternative.
So all of them make a perfect lunchbox for the day, for the college entrance exam day.
They do.
Since you have to bring your own lunchbox to the test sites.
Yeah, and if you've noticed, they're all traditional Korean foods.
Right.
So it's easy to access, and it's something that all of us should eat in the morning.
Well, best of luck to all the test takers out there, right? Thank you, Misora.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Our SJ Lee is standing by with the results from the 2014 Korean series. I don't want to give it away, but I will say this much. SJ Lee was wrong. So take a look.
And a good Wednesday morning to you all as we kick things off with, of course, the 2014 Korean series with the Samsung Lions one win away from clinching their 4th straight title while the Next-Gen Heroes look to force a Game 7. Well, I was wrong, but let's take a look at the highlights from Game 6. Now going through the game here, top of the 3rd inning, bases loaded for Chete in. That's a 2-run single to right as Samsung takes an early 2-0 lead. Before Game 5, hero Cheongsan-do at bat makes it 4-0 with an RBI double to right center. Now Next-Gen not giving up yet. 4th inning, Itae-guna at bat. This one an RBI double to left center, cuts the deficit to 4-1. But the 6th inning, Yamiako Navarro, there it goes to deep left center. Gone a 3-run shot, hits 4th home run of the series, breaks it wide open. Now Next-Gen's bullpen never recovers after that as Samsung cruises through 11-1, winning their 4th straight Korean series title and their 8th title overall, with Yamiako Navarro being named the series MVP. And now staying in baseball, after 4 days since Kim Kwang-hyun was posted, the SK Wyverns were informed of the highest bidding team on Tuesday. But turns out the highest bid was far from what the SK Wyverns expected. Now, according to Ken Rosenthal, a baseball analyst in the U.S., the San Diego Padres had the highest bid with $2 million, but Kim Kwang-hyun and the team will have to talk about whether or not it's even worth accepting it. An official at the SK Wyverns stated that the former MVP was shocked when finding out about the amount, as the team will inform the MLB office by Friday, 7 a.m., whether or not they'll accept it. Now, if the bid is rejected, Kim Kwang-hyun will have to play another 2 full seasons before gaining unconditional free agency. And now shifting gears over to the LPGA this time, as the battle for the 2014 LPGA Player of the Year award is set to come down to the wire, with Park In-bi and Stacey Lewis set to compete 2 more times this year. Despite Park In-bi taking back her #1 world ranking a few weeks back, American Stacey Lewis still has a slim lead in the Rolex Player of the Year point system at 229 points compared to Park In-bi's 217 points. And the battle for the award will come down to the final 2 tournaments, with the Lorena Ochoa Invitational and the CME Group Tour Championship. Meanwhile, the 2 golfers are expected to fight for the top money list as well, with Lewis in the lead by a little more than $360,000. And now finishing things off in football, he went from being called sensational, but now they're calling him Sonaldo. It's Korean national team footballer Son Heung-min, as he was recently named the UEFA's Player of the Week. The 22-year-old was also recently named in the UEFA Best 11 along with names like Lionel Messi and Koke. He has now been named UEFA's Player of the Week thanks to his 2 goals against Zenit last week, which helped Bayer Leverkusen at the top of their group with a 2-1 victory. With the 2 goals, Son Heung-min also became the first Korean to score 2 goals at a Champions League match. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
All right, so let's slow things down again for this segment of AGRI-TRAVELS. Joining us is Keith Kim with another wonderful location. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
So last week on Korea Today, we featured a place called Damyang, which is a slow city. And I myself went to another slow city. It's called Cheongsan-do Island. And this place has been growing a lot in popularity due to the slow city designation, as well as just the popularity in general of just walking and hiking. It's a really great place.
It's a difficult place to get to, a bit far away from Seoul, but you won't be disappointed, right?
A slow ride over there too.
Slow ride,
It's a
but take it slow.
slow ride. From Seoul, you actually have to take a bus 6 hours down to Wando Island. And then from there, you have to transfer over to a ferry, and that takes another hour to get to Cheongsan-do Island. And once you actually get there, though, like you said, it's absolutely worth the trip. The views are stunning, the scenery is beautiful, and absolutely highly recommend it. I myself, we had the chance to stay there over there, and I actually think you'll agree with me if you take a look at some of the spectacular visuals that we brought back.
Wow.
So how about we take a look? So this is Cheongsan-do Island. This is the island of blue oceans and green mountains. And the ferries here, they run 5 times a day. I myself, we took the first ship. Couldn't wait to get there, and glad I did. It was so beautiful.
So you pulled an all-nighter, basically.
Absolutely, it was definitely an all-nighter. All right, so we're here. We arrived at Cheongsan-do Island, and of course, as always, I'd love to show you the island as best as I can. But to really show the magic of this place, I think we need a little help from my friend, Eagle Eye.
Wow.
Wow, what's that?
It's a little helicam over here. It's called Eagle Eye. It's a little nickname we gave because it gives us a bird's eye view of the island.
The eye in the sky.
Yeah, the eye in the sky. And here we get to see the 11 paths. They're called slow trails.
He's following you too.
He's my friend. He's my buddy. And over here, I was walking along Seopyeonje Road. There you go. He's following me. And this road's the most popular in the entire island. This road actually became a famous tourist spot after the success of the movie Seopyeonje, which was filmed right here. This road has become so famous because of the movie Seopyeonje, which was the first movie in Korean cinema history to attract 1 million viewers. And I'm sure you guys recognize this song as well. This is Jindo Arirang. And this is where that scene was actually filmed. It's the pansori performing father and daughter. They're singing and dancing that Jindo Arirang song. The backdrop is very, very beautiful. If you take a look at the footage from the film and what it looks like today, you can see that it's barely changed.
It hasn't changed much.
Yeah, it's a
If it were
testament.
in Seoul, it would have looked completely different.
Absolutely. Walking along, I had a chance to hear a couple of performers performing traditional Korean music at Seopyeonje Jumak, which is a traditional tavern. We're at this traditional Korean village with traditional music in the background. You're listening to Arirang on Arirang TV. So enjoying the music with the people. They had a lot of fun. People were just dancing and getting up, and I had a chance to dance over here too and even participate. They even gave me a chance to try this out. I tried my best.
You're not bad.
It's called otbak. You're a step or two behind there.
Next is Nurimbo Village. It's Slow Village, and it's one of the farm stay experience villages. You take everything here real slow and nice. This beautiful area is right next to the Cheongsan-do Slow Village. And here we can make arts and crafts out of the shells found around the island and make some of Cheongsan-do's slow food. We're gonna make it ourselves and eat it. Let's check it out. So where we're going, it's the Slow Island School. It's actually an abandoned school that's been repurposed. And And this slow food experience center, they have all the local foods that are Cheongsan-do specialties that are actually hard to find on the mainland.
It has a clean aftertaste and a freshness you can't taste anywhere else.
Some people, they come to Slow Island School just for the slow food, and it's made with absolutely the cleanest ingredients grown on the island. I had a chance to try to make some of the slow food myself. We're making some rice balls right here, and it was a lot of fun. Get to get my hands dirty and enjoy it.
Very friendly people down there. Right? They let you do everything.
Absolutely, they helped out, yeah. This one
helped out. Looks like you helped out.
This one's Cheongsan-do Tang. It's very, very unique, actually. Cheongsan-do Tang, but there's no soup here. It's just like a consistent, like a doughy kind of dish. So I got really confused. Very, very different. Yeah, actually in the old days when rice was hard to get, islanders at Cheongsan-do Island, they ate this instead, Cheongsan-do Tang.
Wow, it looks gooey.
It's the first time that looks like this I've ever eaten.
Never tasted
It's kind of like
never
porridge.
tried anything like
It's
that.
pasty. It's very, very tasty.
Wow. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, it's surprising.
It's kind of porridgey, it's kind of oatmeal-y, but very seafoody, and very good.
Check out all that food on that table. We had a blast eating all of it. It was amazing, so delicious
Wow.
too. There's a lot of it. We finished it all.
I'm so curious about what that tastes like.
So after the island, I had a chance to stop by a pebble beach. This one's not made of sand, but it's actually made out of round pebbles and stones.
Wow.
Next, this is a seashell craft center. You can see over here all the pieces of art. They're so beautifully made. A lot of care went into them, and very, very beautiful stuff.
These were all made from shells from around the island, and don't you think this is pretty? I think I'm gonna try to make a necklace myself.
So this one, you just put one seashell after another, and sooner or later you get a awesome necklace or a little brooch, and it's quite easy to do. Even the kids had an easy time doing it.
Nice. You're pretty good.
Right.
I'm proud of that one. Yeah.
She said I did a good job.
Seal of approval.
Yeah, that one's mine. That's my masterpiece right in the middle.
It's really nice.
Right.
Okay, next place we're going to is Bombawi Boulder, which literally means tiger rock.
Wow.
I can't really see the tiger though. They say it looks like one.
Maybe you have to be a tiger.
The scenery is very beautiful. I feel great.
And when you reach the Bombawi platform, you get to see this famous slow mailbox or the slow letter box. After typing on keyboards all the time these days, it felt really good to write a handwritten letter.
This is one of the biggest attractions of course number 5. This is the slow letter box, and this is going to send a letter 1 year down the line. And I wrote a letter to myself. It's going to come back to me a year later and hopefully remind me of the good memories that I had over here.
1 year, huh?
It's going to take a year.
What if you write a letter to your girlfriend at the time and you guys break up a year?
Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Something that Young might do.
Well, the last stop we're going to is Noel Road, which means Sunset Road. And here, as you can see, the sunset is so beautiful here. Sky's red, beautiful view. It's like a picture. If you want to experience this kind of leisure, this kind of slow life, definitely head to Cheongsan-do Island. It's definitely the place to go.
Wow. So
Beautiful.
nothing flamboyant or extravagant about this place, but still beautiful, slow pace.
Yeah, it's a slow city.
Right.
Absolutely. Slow city, so you just walk, you take your time, you take it all in, you enjoy it all.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Very, very highly recommended.
And you brought something
I
with
came
you.
back with this stuff over here. These are the necklaces.
So you made all 3 of these, right?
No, I only made one of them. The one.
Wow, this is
if you can
really
guess.
beautiful.
This is
Look
the
at
one.
this.
It almost looks like a real flower.
Right. They look
So-
like petals, but these are actually real shells. Look at.
And all those
Wow.
seashells, they're from that island. They're from the surrounding area too.
I mean, it gets you. These are like mini abalones, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are abalone shells. I don't know what the other shells are
Not
called
bad.
actually.
Okay, well, it looks
Goes
very
well
nice.
with your
I guess.
outfit, the color.
You can choose one. Now, but let's go to the Nurimbo village there, the Yoeng Hakgyo, or the Nurimbo school, the Slow Island school. Now, that food was just fabulous. Is it available? Is it readily available to the public, the experience that you had in the food?
Absolutely. The people, anyone can go to the website. It's slowfoodtrip.com. And if you go to the website, you're signing up for all that wonderful food. There's abalone bibimbap, there's raw fish sashimi, and there's also even simple things like seaweed. And that's all awesome, but the great part about it is there's also accommodations there. So you eat all that food, you get really, really full, and then you head upstairs and you just lie down and go to sleep. Yeah. And the rooms there, they're actually very, very nice. They're very modern. They've been renovated, and I stayed there personally myself. It was very comfortable. It's a really enjoyable experience.
Staying in the room is a good idea, but I would rather go for a walk down the slow road course. How long does it take to complete the course?
Well, if you're doing the slow road literally and you're taking a slow walk, then the entire thing is going to take about 2 days.
2 days.
But, there's 11 courses throughout the entire thing, and the total is about 42 kilometers. So you
Almost
can
like a marathon course.
Yeah, it's quite long. But there's 11 different courses, and each course takes about 1 to 2 hours each to complete. So you can pick and choose. You don't have to go to all of them. It's basically up to you. It's a choice. And of course, along each of these roads, there's unique sights to see. There's, for example, Chobun, which is the first tomb. It shows the unique island culture's funeral island, the unique culture of the
funeral culture.
Right. There you go. And there's also Gudurjang, which is a flat stone rice paddy. It shows the ingenuity of the people and how they farm as well. But of course, each course, they have their own sites, but I like to really recommend the scenery, the nature over there, especially right now when the foliage is going to be peak starting next week until next weekend. So head over there, just, slow road. You take a walk, you enjoy, and just kind of take in all the sights, beautiful colors.
I'm going to actually take you up on that offer.
It's a far ride.
Perfect report on a hump day like today. So thank you, Heath.
My
for
pleasure.
that.
Take it slow.
And today on Hot Items, our Jessie Day has invited me and Singjae for a little feast here. So could you tell us about what you have for us today?
Yes, you can call me Chef. In fact, in the 5 years or so, Chef Jessie. In the 5 years or so I've been in Seoul, my cooking skills have gotten a bit better, particularly with instant foods. Maybe that's because they're easy. Don't ask me to make a casserole for you. However, amongst all the people I know, I can say that I'm probably the king of spicy food.
So are you telling us that all of this food on the table are instant food?
Absolutely. I'm going to open your eyes. I'm going to show you
I know.
a whole new world of instant foods.
This is perfect because this is when I really get hungry and it is breakfast time for me. So tell us what we're going to eat first.
Okay, so the first thing is hoppang, of course, a very popular Korean dish, particularly in the winter. This is by Samlib Company. And Koreans love hoppang so much that about 3 hoppang are sold for every Korean in the country every year. So Koreans love the hoppang, and of course a variety of fillings inside them, traditionally with the red bean paste filling, right?
Right, you tear off this paper over here, and probably this is the red bean paste filling that we have over here.
Absolutely, yes. That
This
is
is
a
a
traditional
lot
red bean
of
paste.
hopbang, and I'll be honest with you, hopbang will always have a special part in my heart because my nickname used to be hopbang when I was in high school, so I
But
really
you're
like it.
no longer a hopbang anymore.
Well, I still love to eat hopbang though.
But we have all these different fillings. SJ is eating one.
I believe that's a pizza hopbang,
filling,
yeah.
And we have a milk filling.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
veggie.
The cool thing about these hopbang by Samlip is they've been making hopbang for over 40 years, and there's 22 different flavor varieties from your traditional red bean paste to the pizza, meat, pumpkin, all sorts of different flavor varieties, and very, very tasty, of course.
SJ is enjoying his
Go ahead,
hopbang.
guys. I'm busy eating here.
Now, going to this machine, this is really
Yes.
familiar. Like, we used to see this in front of the convenience stores, and we used to buy one of them in cold winter days and carry it in our hands to make our hands warmer.
Right.
But we don't have this machine in our home, at our
Yes.
home. So what do we do?
That's right. So as you can see in here, yes, the machine, of course, the steam flowing out of it. This is a very great way to enjoy the hopbang, but of course we don't have these at home. So a great way to enjoy it at home, there's a few different methods. One really great way is to actually use your rice cooker. You can actually first cook your rice. When it's warming in the rice cooker, you put the hopbang inside of it, close the lid, leave it in there for 15 minutes, and you can get a nice moist hopbang. And if you're in a hurry, of course, you can just toss it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Really easy. However, you want to make sure you put plastic wrap over it so that it holds in the moisture, doesn't get too dry.
Right. And I am a spicy food fan.
Everyone knows that.
And I would like to try this tteokbokki.
Yes.
And I can't believe this is instant food.
Yes, we're moving into the spicy area, something that I love very much as well. Now this is tteokbokki and noodle. We can see it right here. And now it's very easy to prepare. You simply stick it in the microwave. So first of all, you put in 80 milliliters of water, boiling water. Now there's a line inside the cup that allows you to see. And then you put in the dok. Let's get that in there. There we go. And then you put in the sauce, like so.
And the sauce?
Yes, the spicy sauce.
Ooh, it is quite spicy.
Oh, I feel it right now.
Is it?
And I have a canker sore in my mouth. It's really burning right now, but it's tasty.
And then lastly, you put the noodles in. Simply stick the lid on, and then you put that in the microwave for about 3.5 minutes.
So
And
just
boom, you have what we see right there. And let me just show you right here. This is how it turns out in the end. You get the nice dok and noodle mixture. So
that package is okay to go into the microwave right away,
yes,
right?
absolutely.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit skeptical because it was microwave.
Right.
But the texture is really, really chewy, as if you're like eating it actually at a shop.
Yeah, that's actually because most instant tteokbokki uses simply regular rice and flour, but this tteokbokki and noodle uses glutinous rice as well, so it gives it that nicer, real tteokbokki texture. As you can see them making it here, it looks like scientists in a laboratory, but they very carefully make it with the glutinous rice flour so that it gets a nice, chewy, tasty texture. And of course, you guys, you like spice traditionally, you like that fire. Yeah.
We do. And I heard that they come in 3 different flavors, and you can choose from the 3. It gets spicier.
Yeah, they're very unique in that particular way. Now, they come in 3 different sauce flavors and 3 different spices. We've got them right here. So this one right here is the black soybean flavor right here. Then the second one we have is the traditional regular chili
And
flavor.
that's what we tried, and it is
No,
still...
lastly, you
it
tried the habanero spicy
No
flavor.
wonder it was so hot.
A little bit of a fusion cuisine happening there. So
Oh.
the habanero pepper, as a lot of people know, is actually spicier than traditional Korean
It is
peppers,
quite spicy.
right?
I feel myself sweating here.
So what they actually did was they used gochujang as the base, and then they threw in habanero chilies to give it that extra kick, that extra oomph, and a bit of a different flavor characteristic.
But I like it this way.
I like the fact that there's also vermicelli noodles in there, or tangmyeon, right? So
Oh,
it makes it so much
right.
better as well. You know what? We had the hopbang, we had the tteokbokki. I want to know what our last meal is now.
Okay, so the last thing is something a little bit more healthy, and that is gondre boribap, or gondre barley rice from Pulmuwan. Now, this is a meal very traditionally enjoyed by Koreans, And the gondore itself is extremely healthy, containing vitamins, minerals, fiber, and being very good for lowering cholesterol as well. And of course, being very tasty when you mix it with rice. So this is the instant package right here. And you simply open it up. You can see the frozen rice and gondore inside. And then you simply pop that in the microwave for about 3 minutes. And afterwards, you can add the sauce. Mix that in there to make it more tasty.
So that's the soybean sauce?
Absolutely.
Oh,
You know
it
what I
does.
What do you
like
guys
is-
think?
You know, I live by myself at home.
Yeah.
So oftentimes I don't use the rice cookers. There's so much leftover rice, but this is not at all dry.
Right. Yeah,
It is moist,
the
very
big
moist.
reason for that, now preserving rice for instant foods is actually a very difficult process because rice tends to age very quickly after you cook it. Now, one really great thing about this particular gondore bap is they use the traditional cooking method of fire and a stone pot, which is quite surprising for something that ends up as instant food. But in addition to that, they flash freeze it at minus 30 degrees immediately after cooking it so that it preserves that freshness and that flavor, and that's why you get that final product. An instant product that tastes like something you might get in a restaurant.
And a small tip for me, like if you chop in some chives in the soybean sauce and some sesame seeds in it, it will give the much greater flavor to it.
No, I can't have enough of the tteokbokki sauce, so I'm actually mixing the tteokbokki sauce with the rice. And
Oh,
it's
that's a good
tasty.
idea too.
Okay, it's like fusion.
I think we should all share with all of our members here at Korea today, right?
Absolutely.
Minjang and Young, why don't you come over here too?
I've made enough for everybody.
We'll
waiting for
invite
the
you to our
invitation.
feast, although we did eat some of them.
Left their
How you guys
stomach growling
move
for the last
over
4
so
minutes.
we can sit and
Well, I
enjoy
ate most of the whole
I can sit
I'm
here.
sorry.
All right, Korea's top microwave chef.
Yes, super instant chef, Jessie
Please
Day.
be my guest.
Enjoy.
Let's go ahead and try some of this right over here. This is fabulous. Oh my goodness. It does look great.
It doesn't look dry. That's what's really amazing about it.
Try the noodles, it's really good as
Is
well.
it spicy? Do you get a little bit of a spicy
For me,
kick
I get
already?
not too spicy.
It's the addictive spicy, right?
It's a little weak
right.
sauce right now. For me. I'm gonna try a little more on that. Challenge myself.
Thank you so much, Jessie.
Yes, happy to prepare
Thank you
these
for the
tasty instant
meal.
foods. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All right, well, this is where we say goodbye on this Wednesday morning already. And tomorrow is Suneung Day.
That's
course.
right. So to all the students out there who are doing that last minute cramming, good luck to you, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a great day. And we will enjoy our meal.
Exactly.